Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, July 23rd, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News. It's been a long week already, it seems. They're hitting us with information overload again. Look over there. And I can't believe people are still talking about Epstein. Look over there. Look over there. Distractions are mounting, and it's getting painfully obvious that the Trump administration doesn't want us talking about Epstein any longer. And they're putting up plenty of roadblocks. As the Speaker of the House dismissed the House for summer break yesterday, early. Just a coincidence. They wanted to work on their can. We have Ruckus from Alternate Current Radio joining us on the co-host today, so I don't want to take too much time with the intro. The big stories of the day, we're gonna take a look at the top 10 wrongdoings done to MLK Jr. by the federal government upon the release of his files and what we can garner of that. The federal government has finally got around to launching AI.Gov. I think we reported like 2 weeks ago, and the website didn't work. So there's your government efficiency for you. But Trump has signed executive orders today, 3, I believe, to streamline AI in America in the AI arms race. We're going to go over that. We got, of course, the distraction. Look over there. We're in bad reruns and replays of 2016. We're going to relitigate again, the creation of the Russian hoax. Again, with declassified documents from Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, now running some real good psyops on the American people. And so it looks like maybe our request for better psyops is paying off here. Now with Palantir getting contracts throughout the federal government and Tulsi Gabbard leading the charge on state-sponsored psyops. So maybe our calls have been answered there. What else do we got here in international news, geopolitical news? Russia, Ukraine had peace talks in Istanbul, Turkey that lasted a total of 34 minutes. So not doing so well there. It looks like there is unrest across Ukraine now, protesting against Zelensky getting rid of the independent corruption investigation agency there, but he promises us that they will implement a new corruption investigation agency. Yeah. Okay. China chimes in. We're going to hear what China has to say about all this insanity in America. And what else do we got? Aardvark genocide continues. Even BBC here now. We'll go over the article. They say, as in the headline here, that, they're doing a controlled demolition in Gaza. Aardvark's leveling thousands of Gaza civilian buildings in controlled demolitions. What does that remind us of? I don't know. 9/11, maybe? A striking similarity here that we'll go over. Let's get to this day in history. On this day, and the noticing by the antiseptic Catholic Church, going back to the year 1253, on this day, the Pope expels the aardvarks from France, from Vienna, France, ordered by Pope Innocent IV. And so he's quite antiseptic there, that Pope, in the year 1253. Seems there's a continuing noticing going on about society not able to get along with the aardvarks, sneaking something to do with, I don't know, the synagogue of Satan. Fast forwarding to the year 1777, on this day, France to supply the United States Revolution. King Louis the 14th of France and his foreign minister clandestinely agree to supply the United States with munitions during the American Revolution against Great Britain. In 1798, on this date, Napoleon Bonaparte captures Alexandria, Egypt. And the saying of the real McCoy, I'm sure everyone's heard that saying. It's a very American saying. Well, it came from, on this day, making him famous, in 1872, African-American inventor Elijah McCoy, where he was granted a patent for lubrications used on steam engines. And that's where the term real McCoy comes from. African-American inventor Elijah McCoy. For our economic and monetary history here, on this day in 1944, Bretton Woods Conference ends. It established the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, later part of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And they've been effing over the, quote, third world and their development efforts ever since. We do love our international Western banking cartel, don't we now? And then flashing way forward here to the year 2022, where the World Health Organization declared monkeypox to be a public health emergency of international concern, with some estimated 16,000 cases in 75 countries. We do miss our monkeypox now, don't we? And with that, let's go ahead and, we had some other news here, sorry. On our civil liberties news, I found this interesting. In 1999, on this day, racist outrage in Tallulah, Texas, 10% of African-American population arrested. A racist outrage occurred in a small town of Tallulah, Texas, as one deputy sheriff arrested 46 people, 39 of whom were African-American, on drug charges. The 39 represented about 10% of the town's African-American population. The sheriff's deputy, Tom Coleman, working with a federally funded Panhandle Regional Narcotics Task Force, single-handedly arrested 46 people on drug charges, 39 of whom were African-American. Deputy Coleman claimed that all 46 had sold him drugs. That deputy seems like a big drug addict to me. Oh, it was part of the failed war on drugs, excuse me. Coleman offered no evidence to support the arrest charges, no witnesses, no photographic evidence, nothing. Adding to the outrage, the arrestees who pled not guilty were given sentences of between 20 to 434 years in prison. Defendants who pled guilty received sentences of between 1 and 18 years. So, just us system here doing the blacks here in America right. And we'll get to more of that with the what the feds did to Martin Luther King Jr. here in a second. But yeah, quite horrific there. But who needs evidence? I mean, they're black, so that should be good enough, right? Right. Okay. Moving on here to our satanic calendar. We can't forget that in the as we're mourning the death of Ozzy Osbourne still, and the dark occultist Satanists are celebrating. We're in the midst. Again, this is July 20th through the July 26th. We're in the midst of one of their ceremonies here on the satanic calendar, where it calls for abduction, ceremonial preparation, and holding of sacrificial victims for the grand climax to occur in 5 days on July 27th. And so we do look forward to that on our satanic calendar. And I think that's about all we got. Here is our segue to bring on Ruckus. And where is it here? So I got us some good old government propaganda from the FBI. And this is all going to be put in greater context when we go over the government wrongdoings by the FBI against MLK Jr., according to the files released, on Sunday. Here's the segue. Trigger warning. This is directly from the FBI, the crime syndicate known as your federal government propaganda. Ruckus, how you doing on this Wednesday?
Wow. Our tax dollars hard at work there, making a nice, yet another slick propaganda video. I think they outdid themselves. Very nice. Very, very nice. It's not as cool as the Trump, the movie poster they put out the other night. That was fun too. I didn't stop to realize or think the correlation between one of the more satanic weeks in the occult holiday with one of my least favorite weeks of all, which is, true story, it is Shark Week. And I am deathly afraid of sharks. And I wonder if they don't time that on purpose for that reason. Because for the longest time, I thought they were doing it personally against me because it is my birthday this week, tomorrow, to be for real. But it's always sharks everywhere. And I'm deathly afraid of sharks. It makes sense now because this is the occult stuff. So they're trying to prey on my fears and do all that on purpose. So just so you know, in case you didn't know, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. The only reason Shark Week takes place during this week is because of me. So if you like Shark Week, you're welcome. If you don't, send me all the hate mail you like, but don't worry, I don't like it either. But yes, all serious kidding aside, speaking of sharks, that's what they're doing. They're taking our tax dollars and killing people with endless wars and what's going on in the Middle East, of course, but elsewhere. And, you know, whatever. Let's go ahead and take all the extra and not help the disaster areas here. Let's not feed the homeless. Let's not, cure the ill. No, let's make cool videos to show everybody on our social media feeds. Yeah, America's doing great. Anyways.
America, we are in an information war, that's for sure. They're hitting us with information overload with all of these releases. Look over there, Ruckus, because I don't want you talking about Epstein anymore. All right.
Ooh, never heard of the guy.
Exactly. So on Sunday, they released, that is they as in the the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. files that had been compiled by the federal government. And I used my AI over here, full transparency, to give me the top 10 wrongdoings by the federal government in regards to Martin Luther King. Here's the actual file for those interested. Again, shout out to our Substack audience. We're growing by leaps and bounds on Substack for some reason, maybe because we're linking to everything we talk about. I don't know. But anyway, the links to everything we talk about, just about everything. I don't know about Ruckus's Shark Week conspiracy, but everything besides that, just about, will be on our Substack, Weaponized News Substack. So you can go do your deeper dives and further research, as we're trying to cover as much information as we can in our limited amount of time here. And reminder, following Weaponized News at 7:30 Pacific time, Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy will be debuting his show, The Molecule Police, not for viewing on YouTube, but all other Weaponized News channels. So tune into that later on this evening. But let's get into, here's the actual files here for those interested in Martin Luther King Jr. And then so I went over to the AI. I said, what is this all about? Tell me the top 10 government wrongdoings. And it's really bad here. Let me just go through them and see what you see. Ruckus probably thinks this is all okay because Martin Luther King was black. I don't think so, but unauthorized wiretapping and surveillance. The FBI began monitoring King in 1955 during the Montgomery bus boycott, escalating to wiretaps on his home, office, and associate's phone in 1963, authorized by then Attorney General Bobby Kennedy, but expanded without sufficient evidence of wrongdoing. This violated privacy rights and produced no proof of communist ties. But he was black, Ruckus. So, I mean, that's good enough, right? Reason?
No, not at
No.
all. For the record,
No.
I am definitely not racist. So I'm curious about your prompt here because I don't trust AI for a second. So you asked it to give you what it thinks is the worst things out of this. What if it's keeping something from you? Yeah, no,
It could be. It
it's
could
all
be.
bad.
Let's
It's
get
all
it.
bad.
It's pretty bad here, but remember he was black, so just keep that in the back of your mind. COINTELPRO operations to disrupt and neutralize. Under the FBI's counterintelligence program, agents actively sought to discredit King and the civil rights movement by fabricating communist links, infiltrating groups like the SCCLC, and sowing division among leaders, sending the anonymous, quote, suicide letter and blackmail package. What? The government was blackmailing people? I don't know where we've heard that before. In 1964, the FBI mailed King a package with a threatening letter and audio tapes of alleged personal indiscretions, urging him to commit suicide or face public exposure. The letter, discovered in Hoover's files, was part of a harassment campaign. Bugging hotel rooms for personal indiscretions. FBI agents placed hidden microphones in King's hotel rooms to record private activities, including alleged extramarital affairs, which were then used for blackmail and to discredit him among supporters and officials. Falsely labeling King as a communist threat. Despite no evidence, Hoover and the FBI portrayed King as influenced by communists via advisor Stanley Levision, using this to justify surveillance and circulate derogatory reports to government officials and the media. Leaking derogatory information to discredit. The FBI distributed memos and leaks to journalists, church leaders, and politicians, criticizing King as a moral degenerate and security risk, aiming to erode his public support and funding. Infiltrating and monitoring the SCLC, agents infiltrated King's Southern Christian Leadership Conference, monitoring speeches, and tracked associates to gather intelligence and disrupt operations, often under the guise of investigating communist infiltration. Failing to address threats and brutality, King publicly criticized the FBI for being completely ineffectual in protecting civil rights workers from violence in the South. Despite awareness of threats, the Bureau prioritized surveillance over protection. Personal vendettas and ethical breaches. In 1977, the Justice Department report found that FBI actions were driven by Hoover's personal hostility, consulting gross misconduct, and civil rights violations, with recommendations to avoid future illicit behavior. Well, I'm glad that the FBI has cleaned up their act. Continued abuse post no evidence. Even after internal admissions of no communist links, the FBI persisted with operations, including after King's 1967 anti-Vietnam War stance, interpreting it as proof of influence and stepping up efforts to undermine him. Ruckus. And so What do you think? I mean, he was black in the South in the 60s, so I mean, he deserved this treatment, right?
Definitely not. And I thought that that's where we had gotten past all that stuff, at least before the George Floyd riots. Yeah, they bring this stuff up all the time. Every time we make 2 steps forward, they take us 20 steps back. It's kind of ridiculous. You mentioned something very important here. At what point along the line did everybody agree that, oh yes, we understand that they used to do this, the cops used to do this, like the cops used to, oh yeah, we understand back in the day the cops used to, like, they pull you over for, they need an excuse, they'll bust your taillight and they'll say you have a busted taillight, or they're searching your place and they don't like the way you look or smell or the color of your skin, they'll plant a little baggie on your floor and like, hey, look what we got here, son. So we all kind of understand that, but at what point did we decide that just because it's fill in the blank 2025 now, that all that stopped, that they don't do that anymore? So it's very interesting that now these MLK files are out there and it says in your face, exactly, admittedly, without question, without doubt, things that long time has, many of us have suspected. But yes, the government is doing illegal things against United States citizens.
But they were
Now,
black.
well, I don't care. Don't stop adding that at the end, Sam. It doesn't matter. That's where it ends.
But he was a communist.
According to the United States Constitution, and I live in the United States of America, I understand you've been in California, my man. It's not too late to come back from the dark side, okay? But yes, it needs to stop right there. But they're admitting that they did this to a United States citizen who, yes, at the time happened to be black. But again, what makes you think they're going to not do it? They're like, well, we wouldn't do that to the black person now. Well, would you do that to the person who's protesting outside the Harvard about Palestine? Well, yeah, exactly. Would you do that against the people who stood up for their rights and didn't want to wear face masks or take the you-know-whats during the medical emergency time period and stay in your home and lose your job? And hello, wake up, people. So yeah, they didn't stop this. This is what they do, except what's changed? We're all online now, and we've got AI government coming now, and Palantir, and Twitter, and Facebook, and all that good stuff. Excellent. Yes. So just keep in mind that they didn't stop doing these types of things. Not only that, they've gotten better at it, and probably do it far more persistently and far more, everywhere. I guess. Panopticon City.
They don't even need to plant recording devices in your hotel room because you got one right here on your phone, you see.
And even if you don't, your neighbor does, or your smoke detector does, or the smart air conditioner down the street. You never know, dude.
Never know. But Pam Bondi's at the Justice Department, so she may save us. Pam Bondi bails on CPAC Human Trafficking Summit amid Epstein uproar, claiming a torn cornea. And so we wish Barbie here at we wish her good vision to be able to see clearly the vision of justice, even though justice is blind. Torn cornea, Mediaite reports, is what has caused her I'm sure it wasn't any questions about Epstein. It was that justice is blind, Ruckus, here in America.
Wow, dude. Okay. This is getting creepy. I was just noticing a recent string of some of the most blasphemous. I mean, it's not just that they're corrupt and disgusting people. They've been extremely openly blasphemous to Almighty God. And they've suddenly, bizarrely enough, been stricken with ailments that I'm not, like that one right there. A good call. She's hiding the truth from everybody, and now she's having a problem with her eyes. Bibi Netanyahu, the people in Gaza are starving, and the dude suddenly got foodborne illness of some sort. Okay. Scott Besson and some other people who are out there vocally talking about, like, all prideful about various things and changing the shape of America and the economic system and go Bitcoin this and all that.
It's the golden age.
Their voice.
It's the golden
There's something
age,
going on with their throats. You telling me they're not getting cursed
by
God?
That's that new bat. This year's strain of bat disease is called the razor blade throat.
I think they've pushed it too far, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm wishful thinking on my part, but either way, it appears that they seem to be cursed by something or someone, or they're just conveniently getting sick with certain things at just the right time to, dodge bullets and to do what they usually do. They're just sticking it in our faces. That's why they're choosing these particular illnesses, because it's funny to them. You never know. Pick one.
You never know. I hope it is God doing it to them. But yeah, biggest day of trade of all time, the White House told us. This is yesterday. They posted the graphic today here. Japan open market to the United States and pay reciprocal tariff of 15%. Indonesia eliminate 99% of tariff barriers for U.S. products. And Philippines open market with the U.S. and zero tariffs. So, yeah, that happened yesterday.
Is that why everything's crashing today? That explains it.
And then on to, I know this is your favorite topic and mine, AI.gov is now live. Here's the website here as Trump signed a flurry of executive orders. And so we checked like 2 weeks ago here, as Weaponized News is always ahead of the news in this era of bad reruns. But here is your website now, operational, AI.gov. And we scroll through it here a little bit. I'm glad when you scroll down, it fully animates this image of Trump. So I don't know what we do without that. They give us an action plan here. Here's what we're doing on AI. And that's about it. It's animated a little bit. And that right now is all they have on AI.gov here, Ruckus.
That's pretty neat. I can do that too, by the way, if you need a website that looks like that minus Trump. Because I can't do it with Trump. I refuse to. I also got my hands on a early release, a sneak peek of the new proposed president under the new AI.gov. Meet your new president. Apparently, Trump will be serving a third term and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth, all the way through infinity as Robo-Trump. So there we have it. Alternately, this is Trump's new personal assistant. He got this bot from Elon Musk, the one behind me here. It's the new. Just kidding. AI.gov. Can you believe it, man? Jeez Louise. I'm telling you, it's not that long ago that you could be talking about this stuff, trying to warn people that this is something that they might want to try to do, and they're going to tell you to shut up, you crazy conspiracy theorist. Here we are. Congratulations, everybody. Pat yourselves on the back, MAGA. You ushered in the age of technocracy, and I can't wait to check my X feed tonight and see Cat Turd telling me how awesome all of this is. I'm going to vomit. This is crazy. It's the end game, dude. Yeah. I wore my gold tie just for the celebration of that. See?
There you go, the golden age of America. Okay, so I asked Gronk about AI.gov, and I said, give me the top 10 points critical of Trump's executive orders regarding freedom. Let's go through that now. Prioritization of corporate profits over public safety and privacy. The AI.gov site and Trump's AI executive orders emphasize accelerating innovation and deregulation to achieve global AI dominance, but critics argue that this move fast and break things approach threatens privacy and security by removing barriers that protected citizens from corporate overreach. For instance, the revocation of prior AI policies clears paths for unchecked data extraction, raising energy costs, and exposing personal data without adequate safety guards. Well, they're just haters on Trump because they believe in the Epstein hoax. Next, removal of essential safety guards from previous administrations. Trump's orders, such as he issued one back in at the very beginning of his. Let me just read it. Trump's orders, such as the January 2025 revocation of Biden's executive order 14110, dismantle protections for safe AI development, including risk assessments for bias and security. This shift is seen as exposing Americans to harms like discriminatory AI tools with no replacement mechanisms, effectively prioritizing speed over ethical deployment and civil liberties. Well, we know that ethics are a conspiracy theory, and so are civil liberties here in America. And so, shut up conspiracies. Increased risk of bias and discrimination without oversight by focusing on, quote, woke AI biases while ignoring broader ideological slants. The policies could enforce politically motivated neutrality, compelling AI developers to alter outputs in ways that violate free speech and amplify existing biases. They wouldn't do that. Enabling mass surveillance and data centralization. Initiatives under AI.Gov and related orders promote sharing sensitive data across agencies, often via companies like Palantir, creating a master database that critics label as dystopian surveillance infrastructure. This erodes privacy rights, allowing potential misuse for political profiling under the guise of fraud protection or security. Damn conspiracy quacks. Lack of ethical guidelines threatening fundamental freedoms. The action plan omits robust ethical safety guards, raising concerns about AI misuse in areas like intellectual property infringement and human rights violations. Trump's approach is criticized for allowing AI companies to operate without accountability for harms, potentially violating constitutional protections like privacy and anti-discrimination laws. Favoring deregulation that harms workers and job security while promising innovation. The policies provide minimal support for workplace displacement, offering only tax incentives for private training programs. Critics argue these fall short, ignoring AI's potential to exacerbate inequality and bias in employment without federal leadership or restraining to protections for displaced workers, ignoring environmental and infrastructure impacts. The push for rapid AI infrastructure expansion, including data centers, overlooks massive energy demands and environmental costs, potentially hiking utility bills for consumers. Deregulation is faulted for favoring corporate growth over sustainable practices, contributing to broader ecological harms without mandated assessments. Politicization of AI developments, infringing on free speech. Orders targeting ideological biases in AI models for federal contracts are viewed as censorship tools, forcing neutrality that aligns with administrative views and chilling divisive expression. This could discriminate against certain viewpoints, violating the First Amendment principles and turning procurement into a mechanism for ideological control. Failure to adequately address misinformation and deepfakes. Despite naming risks like deepfakes, the plan relies on voluntary benchmarks and punts responsibility, offering no enforceable standards. Critics warn this exacerbates misinformation floods, endangering the democratic processes and public trust without proactive federal intervention. And finally, centralization of power, undermining democratic oversight by preempting state regulations and centralizing AI government federally. For a decade, the policies risk creating uncontrollable power structures, stifling innovation through compliance nightmares, and exposing national security to fragmented approaches. This vacuum is criticized for lacking congressional input and favoring executive overreach. What do you think about all of this, Ruckus?
And you asked Grok, right? Grok is pretty based on these types of things. Keep in mind, folks, that the answers that are given to you from the language learning models come from all the stuff that's out there on the internet. So you could go and do a search of whatever the 12 articles that it searched for, read the 100 posts that it read, and has stored in his data bank to make these conclusions. And I'm happy because it would appear that at least there's still enough common sense human things going in there. We're not at the part where like all of its AI slop and blue check marks on X that love Elon Musk and everything that he does and loves the AI, loves the technocracy, just the giant AI technocracy circle jerk, basically. That's not what's feeding the machine. But you'll notice there's a lot of concern about biases and diversity and woke this and environment that. That's because that's coming from all of that repeated garbage narrative that's out there in the mainstream sources that it's drawing upon. But the thing is, like, we keep taking what it's saying with no grains of salt. Apparently, we just accept it. We just, like, instead of going and double checking or clicking on the links, usually people, when they get their answers from AI, they just assume that that's it, that was right, and move along. But they still tell you in all of these AIs that it says, hey, AI is an emerging technology. I'm new here. I might still make mistakes. Always double check your work. And the problem is nobody's doing that. But the companies, the AI is covering their ass by simply reminding you every time, hey, don't forget, what I'm telling you might be wrong. You might want to check it. How long before at any time, for whatever reason, like what we saw with the MLK files, they decide to intentionally feed you misinformation? At what point are you going to be able to say, oh, if you ever catch them, if you catch them feeding you misinformation, what are they going to say? Hey, look, buddy, we told you we might be lying to you, and you took it anyways. It was totally on you to do your own research. Ha ha, your fault. You did it to yourself. Why are you hitting yourself? See what I mean? So we got to be careful with some of this stuff. But it's not wrong about half of these things that it's saying, I guess, ultimately.
Let's hear from Trump on these AI executive orders.
To ensure America maintains the world-class infrastructure we need to win today, I will sign a sweeping executive order to fast-track federal permitting, streamline reviews, and do everything possible to expedite construction of all major AI infrastructure projects. And this will be done. You will get so good a service in so many ways, not only from Lee with the environment, but you need many other types of permits, and you're going to go so fast. You're going to say, well, wait a minute, this is too fast. I didn't expect to go this quickly. This is a problem. I may cause a problem in opposite, but including factories, data centers, and power plants of all kinds, the United States will have total industrial and technological supremacy.
Sounds like he's trying to warp speed something there, Sam.
There's more. There's more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong anyway?
It is. Everything's warp speed here now.
The reason the last administration was so eager to regulate and restrict AI was so they could limit this technology to just a few large companies, allowing them to centralize it, censor it, control it, weaponize it. And they would weaponize a very dishonest group of people. You probably saw that because we caught them in the act. We really caught them. We had it before, but now we really have them. We have it where it counts. So this is the exact opposite of my approach. The unique strength of the American tech industry has always come from its startups and small tech. It comes through small. Jensen was small. Were you ever small? I think so. When you started in your bedroom, I think you were small, right? He started as very small, and now he's really become very amazing. If you regulate them too much, you kill the source of American genius and technological power. I believe that. Joe Biden had a plan to lose the AI race. I think he wanted to lose it because his plan would never have worked. It would have never been successful. You would have spent a lot of money and you wouldn't have been able to win. They didn't allow you to win, but we have a plan which only admires and respects the winners.
He made it in his bedroom there. It wasn't from the military or DARPA. None of this technology. You know what I mean? It was just a American tinkerer in his bedroom.
It's very small.
Let's go now to the Secretary of Energy here now. About
real quick, did you notice he was already doing what the Grok was warning could happen and politicizing over the
Indeed.
AI?
Yeah. Indeed, they are. Everything's politicized now on both sides. It's and the American people get a big sandwich for it. Here is, I don't know what could go wrong here about adding. What do they want to do? They want to add a bunch of nuclear reactors, but I thought we're under a constant threat of terrorism from all of these sleeper cells from Iran. I don't know what could go wrong here, but U.S. plans to build more nuclear reactors to power this AI revolution. Let's hear now from the Secretary of Energy, right, about this. It seems like maybe we should be concerned about nuclear reactors everywhere in your neighborhood. I don't know.
So as you look at the challenges ahead, nuclear and getting that online is going to be something that you're really focused on.
It is. Like the nuclear industry took off after World War II. In the first 25 years, we licensed and put under construction 130 nuclear reactors at over 80 power plants. Then we created the NRC, or really we split the Atomic Energy Commission into the NRC to regulate nuclear power and the Department of Energy to promote and advance the technology. And what's happened since then is we've licensed and built 2 new reactors in 45 years after over 100 in 25 years. So clearly something's got to change there.
So you're optimistic. I mean, you seem like an optimistic guy, but you're optimistic sitting in this seat.
This is America. We put people on the moon. Can we build nuclear reactors again? Absolutely. Is it going to be a challenge? Do a lot of things have to change to get this ball rolling again? Yes. But can we do it? Yes, we can, and yes, we will.
Mr. Secretary, we appreciate the time. We're going to tour around your great department here a little bit later.
So there's calls in the chat, it looks like, to put the spent fuel rods that we already have in the public drinking water supply. And so we do look forward to that.
I know what they should do with those spent nuclear rods, but I'm not going to say on your program, Sam. Use your imagination. That guy is like, he's a doll, isn't he? He's like one of those dolls that you pull the string, and he's got all the talking points. He said all the things. He sounded like Bob the Builder. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Oh, wait, that was Obama who said all that stuff, right? This is crazy. He sounded like a Democrat. That's what it was. He sounded like a Democrat trying to get into office. That was very strange, that person. Very odd, these people. And he looked just as orange as Trump. I don't know if you noticed.
Maybe let's take another look at them quickly. Maybe they go to the same spray tan joint. I don't know. Yeah, he does look. Maybe that's just Fox News tint on him. He's already glowing with enthusiasm for nuclear energy in America.
Maybe he's one of the next model of Tesla robots. Maybe he's not real.
Maybe. Okay, the big story, bad rerun. I thought we knew all this, but apparently it's news again. Not really, but Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, new evidence has emerged of the most egregious weaponization. Who's called Weaponized News? I don't know. We named ourselves that a long time ago. Anyway, that term has become popularized about the abuse that the government does to the citizenry here. She goes on to say the most egregious weaponization and politicization of intelligence in American history. I don't know. What about what we just covered, what they did to MLK? I don't know. You tell me, but this is the Post, and they do have nice infographics. And so maybe our PSYOPs are getting better here. I don't know, but they did put out a real nice infographic here. Ruckus, what do you think? The creation of the Russian hoax. You like that infographic?
This is what we're doing?
This is what we're doing. This is right from the top.
I don't believe this.
Right from the top, the Director of National Intelligence right here. We're really replaying this again. Fake weaponized assessment, they say.
Wow. No thanks. This is ridiculous. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Who cares about the Russia hoax story? I thought we were so done with this. Man, I thought we were done with this.
Well,
Can we get to finish getting to the bottom of the other things, like the Project Warp Speed that I mentioned? How about, I don't think there's been full closure with the whole J6 event yet. I don't remember all of these people getting like sincere apologies and getting their lives straightened back, and all the new homes and jobs that have been discovered for them, and getting their monies back and their limbs back. And so a lot of them lost their lives. How are their families doing? How do they feel about seeing Trump in the White House doing all the crap that he's doing right now, knowing that their loved one went to the mat, to the grave for that dude to get him in office? Anyway.
Well, they were far right extremists, rednecks, and so they deserved it.
A lot of those people were just there in the wrong place at the wrong time, dude.
There's irrefutable evidence that detail how President Barack Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. And that's coming from the White House, Director of National Intelligence, rogue, i.e. X-Men rogue character here, Tulsi Gabbard.
This is just distraction for the diehard conservatives to be like something to talk about for the rest of the summer. See, we told you so again. Here
we go.
Meanwhile,
let's hear
current
from,
atrocities go on.
Let's hear from Rogue herself here now. They're going to get Obama. I'm telling you, Obama's going down here, Ruckus.
At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination of the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
We're going to get justice out of this deal, Ruckus. Also revealed was that internal emails between Hillary Clinton and her campaign back in 2016 revealed in these documents just released. And by the way, the link will be at Weaponized News Substack. Here's the actual document for those interested. 46 pages, but it was revealed that Hillary Clinton was heavily sedated on tranquilizers during this time period, according to internal emails released, part of this whole Russia hoax.
I could see that. She's pretty wild, so they got to keep her on a. Like, what the heck, man? But again, seriously, why are we digging into all this old stuff when there's all these things that they just promised us? All that's why, because they're not going to deliver on all of these other promises, so they're just picking some random stuff. Like, hey, well, look, we got this. Check this out. What do we got? Here, check this out. Here, neat. Check it out. Yeah, they're just digging. They're stretching. They're grasping straws, man.
Justice Department announces formal formation of strike force to assess evidence publicly. About it here, strike force assesses the evidence politicized by Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. And so there's a strike force now to look into the Office of the Director of National Intelligence there. And so we have a strike force that will deliver us justice.
They're going to go kick down Obama's door, guys. Yeah, winning. MAGA. Golden Age. This is awesome, bro. I should be more excited about this. I'm sorry for being such a negative Nancy tonight.
Obama's going down. Hillary's going down. Brennan, Clapper, the whole crew, Comey.
You know what? This reminds me of a guy used to use just a single letter as his name, running around promising that these people were going down. And here we are. Promises made, promises delivered, but not by who you thought, apparently.
And so don't you worry about Epstein and that whole trafficking network. Operation Grayskull was launched by the FBI, and they put out a fancy video about it. Operation Grayskull represents one of the most significant strikes ever made against child sex abuse material websites on the dark web. Let's watch this video released today by the FBI.
Hi everyone, I'm Kash Patel, Director of the FBI. I'm excited to announce the results of a global operation to take down 4 of the biggest child sexual abuse sites on the dark web and bring the criminals who operated them to justice. As a result of Operation Grayskull, the FBI arrested 19 subjects here in the United States and, working with our international partners, helped coordinate additional arrests in 7 more countries. Shockingly, many of these perpetrators had no prior criminal records. They were people we knew and trusted, neighbors, colleagues, even family members. They were active in our communities and around our children. This is why we must stay vigilant. Investigations like this are thorough and resource intensive. They often take years due to the complexity of tracking perpetrators on the dark web. Specialized teams like the FBI's Child Exploitation Operational Unit work tirelessly to find those who harm our children and put them behind bars. Through global partnerships and dedicated resources, the FBI works to ensure that all children have the chance to grow up safe and free from exploitation. Rest assured, we will keep hunting these criminals, no matter where they are. Thank you for keeping our children safe.
Operation Grayskull. And Denver mentions there in the chat that the DNI or Office of DNI didn't exist until we had the Patriot Act. And so thankfully, the Patriot Act has keeping us safe from radical jihadist terrorism. And we
do you know how many terrorists they've caught, Sam? It's amazing. It's
hundreds, thousands.
Yeah, none.
None.
None. You had me going there with the Operation Grayskull thing. I thought maybe you were talking about this. I was like, I had that when I was a kid, man. Remember that? Castle Grayskull, He-Man? Oh, yeah, those toys were probably bad for you when you were a kid. Gets you in trouble now. He had like a symbol on his chest that some people find questionable. But yeah, dude, Kash Patel, the FBI doing it. Is that the FBI? Where we just heard about the FBI already tonight, Sam? Can you remember? Oh, that's right. It was revealed in the MLK files, all of the wonderful things that the FBI was doing. And now we get to see all the wonderful things that the FBI is doing, which is, spending God only knows how much money making these cool media video blitz clips things. What is this? This isn't news. This isn't a press release. This is it's called propaganda. This reminds me of that movie Starship Troopers. Remember that one? Did you see that movie? That guy was a genius. That director, Paul Verhoeven, I think. But yeah, it was like in that movie, they had like these very over the top, like crazy media produced like things going on about war and stuff, and it's like that's what we live in now. It wasn't always like this, and now we're on a whole nother level, bro. I don't know what all this stuff is coming from these departments. This is freaking me out, man. This is more than just a recruiting video for the Army. That was the only time you would see a commercial, basically, from the United States government, was from the armed services trying to encourage you to join. Oddly enough, they don't do a lot of those anymore because they're recruiting you through the video games. In case you didn't know that, parents, teachers, you probably do. But yeah, this is all slick propaganda. This is in your face. It's disgusting, and it should be as alarming to everybody as it is to me.
It is a full-on blitzkrieg, and who could say they did not see this coming after Operation Paperclip, making Goebbels very proud? Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files, according to the Wall Street Journal right here. And of course, the Trump administration has refuted this report, calling it fake news. And so that's good enough for me, Ruckus. And
I thought that one was going to break the internet. I thought that was it. I thought, oh God, here we go, man. I'm not getting out of bed today. Forget it. I guess they brushed it off real easy.
Trump administration said Attorney General alerted Trump his name appears in the Epstein files. But it's
so what?
Easily dismissed as fake news. And to try to cover their butt here, somebody, it's just the government, but we continue, it's the Republicans, it's the Democrats, it's the government. U.S. District Judge Robin Rosenberg, not related to Steens at all, rejected the DOJ bid to unseal Epstein grand jury transcript from his previous arrest in the Florida violation when he was neighbors with Trump, who didn't even know him. So strange. And then here is, of course, there's no coincidence with the Bergs and the Steens, and don't even notice such things or you may be deported.
The judge is a Democrat, I'm guessing, yeah?
Obama appointee. The Trump administration literally conceded, that's the government, in its own motion to unseal the Epstein grand jury documents that the court could not unseal them. The government even cited the very case law that prohibits it, prompting the judge to note that the government's own admission to the court that it lacks the authority to unseal the records. So there you go. We're trying, even with detached corneas, to see justice in America, but it's very difficult. Now, here, Ruckus.
I'm not holding my breath. I hope you're not either.
Oh my gosh. It just, the hits keep coming. Well, thankfully, Palantir's now got into the filmmaking business. And so our calls for better psyops and propaganda may be fulfilled by Founders Films. And we see now we can get some good old American patriotism from Founders Films. Here's some screenshots in their pitch deck that they were looking for funding to get some money for this enterprise, Monumental American Stories. And so Founders Films, working hand in hand with Palantir, Peter Thiel and the Technocracy, are going to give us such hits as Atlas Shrugged, a Founders Films production, and Operation Pineapple Express. And so we do appreciate the efforts. That's coming down the pike, and I'm sure MAGA will love all of that propaganda.
I believe very strongly if you watch anything coming from that production house, you are lost forever. That is the equivalent of taking the mark of the beast, and you are forever damned to an eternity in HE double hockey sticks. And I'm speaking metaphorically, yet also sincerely at the same time. Can you imagine? I would be like, I don't even want to be within 10 feet. I'd be like, no, and I would close my ears and my eyes and everything just in case a millisecond of the, you want to talk about weaponized. That is like going to the next level right there. Wowza. And then what are they going to do? Like, are they going to get some sort of, are they going to do these in theaters? That'd be great. And then they can get sort of haptic feedback from the audience. They can measure the way the air molecules move in just the right way around your mouth from the chair sensors they have that you can't see. Ay, caramba. Wild stuff.
Exciting new venture there coming out of Palantir. Wow. Yeah. Founders Films. And then, of course,
and Founders Films, they want you to think that's patriotic, right? Founding Fathers, but no, they're talking about like the founders, the
founders of Technocracy is what
yeah,
really
and all this Isaac Asimov stuff. Anyway,
this guy, we're gonna get. I'm on talks right now to get this guy. We're gonna interview him. Of what is he doing? He's like Cop Block, a Free Thought Project. I knew that. Anyway. he put out this great post to give us some inspiration about better psyops coming. Reminder, Palantir's tentacles spread far and wide. Palantir contracts as of July this year, 2025. You can see there, the Department of Defense, 1.2 billion. The Department of Homeland Security, 1 billion. HHS, 1 billion. The Army, 1 billion. The Navy, 920 million. The CDC, 443 million. FDA, 44.4 million, and then ICE, 330 million there. And the VA, the Department of Transportation, IRS, and Social Security Administration, undisclosed, over $6 billion in federal contracts, and still growing for Palantir, the head of our technocracy. And so that's maybe we can get better psyops, as we just showed there in the Founders films coming on the market here soon, hopefully, so for better propaganda that we've been demanding.
Careful what you wish for, right?
You just might get it. And it looks like, don't ever say Big Brother's not listening.
Oh, that's a good one. Of course they're listening and watching.
Okay, let's take our live commercial break here now. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get some stickers over there. Here's our holograph sticker, the white background sticker, and the clear sticker. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your Cybertruck, your work locker, and help spread the word about Weaponized News, weaponizednews.com. And let's take a quick commercial break, and we're back with Ruckus to plug and on to the second half of the show.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
Plug, Ruckus.
Oh, yeah, sure. Head on over to alternatecurrentradio.com, and that's where you will find the podcasts that I'm usually on, like Sunday Wire, of course, Boiler Room. There you go, and you'll find the Daily Ruckus up there. Just make sure you hit that menu. Head on over to the right spot, and there you will find all of the Ruckus stuff, okay? Including the Roundabout Ruckus, featuring the most recent episode of yours truly right here, alongside Sam Chaney on Weaponized News. Shout out to Sam Chaney and Weaponized News. Head over there and get yourself a sticker. Yeah, make sure you hit me up if you want to get your help done with your website. I'm doing a lot of website stuff right now. Some cool graphic media stuff, social media. So send me an email. Find me on my X at AC_wordslinger. Cool.
Thank you for those commercial messages, Ruckus. All right, on to public health news. Turns out, let's get to the bad news first here. Turns out the chemical industry is moving, the pesticide industry, specifically in agriculture, is moving forward with indemnity on their products known to cause cancer, disrupt our endocrine system, and cause much havoc. But God forbid they're ever held liable for poisoning the environment and the population. And so that is it's somewhere in the Congress right now in a committee. They're on the break, but House Appropriations Committee advances bill to keep public in the dark about pesticide risks. Here you go. It's on you. It really is all on you. I would not trust this government to do anything, literally. And so it's on you to take personal responsibility and know what's in your food supply. And so they will, I believe, here now, wind up giving Bayer, Monsanto, Syngenta, amongst other big ag companies here now, big GMO companies. I believe they will get indemnity from Congress, and you'll be left on your own with the cancers and the rest of it. And so it hasn't been signed into law yet, but there's nothing to dissuade me from believing it will be signed into law here, Ruckus.
Unbelievable. Isn't it interesting that the corporate world alongside governments hate an informed citizenry, yet at the exact same time, the exact same people, the same corporations and the same governments are pushing for an artificial version of intelligence? I find that not to be a coincidence. Yeah, the food label stuff, that's interesting. They can shake rattle the cages all they want and make a big hullabaloo, make a ruckus about this or that. Like, hey, well, we got sugar in the Coke now instead of high corn for, we're winning, yada, yada, yada. The argument about the label. So what if this is going to be a fake argument and then it's going to make it look like we're winning because now they're forced to make more in-your-face labels that this contains XYZ. People still won't read the label. Even if they read the label, they won't understand exactly what it is and why they shouldn't be eating it. And none of it addresses the overall concern about all of this. I was just watching one of those reel videos where somebody, like a sizzle reel of videos where somebody shows clips of all the different things, and they were showing you how you can tell if your food is fake. So all of these things that have passed the mark, and it says, hey, fresh and organic, and hey, it's fresh fruit at my grocery store, everything's good, and you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't come from Monsanto, there's no GMO label on here. Your food is painted. It's injected with super glue if you're buying meat from your butcher count. I mean, it's terrible what they do to this food that you buy at the grocery store. You shouldn't be buying any of it. Just trust me on this. But they're going to argue about like whether or not they should have a label because it's got xanthan gum in there or something bizarre. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. It's a fake argument.
Let's hear from Bobby Kennedy Jr. on the future of our farms is the future of our health. And that's why Big Ag needs indemnity as well as the miracle manufacturers.
Health and the vibrancy of American farms is critical to the success of the MAHA movement. We need to produce high quality, nutrient dense food for our children and for the world. And our farms today are in crisis. We're losing farmers. We're losing our capacity to create high quality food for our children. And one of the principal priorities of the MAHA movement is to make sure that we don't lose any more farmers in this country. And we have a president now who's not only absolutely committed to the survival and to the prosperity of American farmers, but is also looking around the corners, who's looking to the future. We have the best farmers in the world in our country. We have people who are developing innovative techniques for restoring the soil, for restoring the microbiome, for producing the healthiest food in the world. And one of the purposes of this meeting is to get that message out to the rest of America that there's hope, that the entrepreneurship that is going on in farm country in this country today is unlike anything that's happening anywhere else in the world.
See, there's hope. There's hope, Ruckus.
Hope's not gonna put food on the table, dude. He when he said Maha, it almost sounded like he said haha, the haha movement. I was like, see, they're just laughing at you now. Yeah, I don't know. Farming is important, but the type of farming that they're talking about is, utilizing machines, technologies, drones, AI to help we have new techniques. No, he meant to say technologies. We have new technologies. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yesterday it was announced by the Health and Human Services Department, the head of the federal health department here in America, that we saw systemic corruption, according to them, in organ harvesting. The cat decided to make an appearance here. We should get some more views for that. And today it was admitted that there is actually mercury-based preservative called thimerosal in the influenza miracles here in America. And so the hits keep on coming as they attempt to rebuild public trust in public health in America here. And so it's official. They gaslighted and lied and for years, decades, that there was no thimerosal in the miracles here for the influenza. But turns out it's all admitted now. And it's perfectly fine because it's going to be removed, according to the CDC and HHS. Rocket.
Is that true? They denied that it was even in there, or were they just defending? They didn't think that it was bad.
I've seen both. They said it wasn't bad. They said they removed it. Any spin a lie any which way, and they've made that argument.
In general, you're not allowed to even question these things. How dare you? Yeah.
You shouldn't.
A lot of winning. We're winning. People are noticing and waking up, so that means automatically all the bad things are going to stop and just fix themselves, like the FBI did, right?
UN International Court of Justice rules that climate change is an existential universal risk to all nations, unequivocally caused by human activities, and member states have a duty to prevent it. Let's watch this short clip. And so you're bad for your CO2 emissions.
The risk of significant harm to the climate system is indisputably established. Climate change poses a quintessentially universal risk to all states. This risk is of a general and urgent character, requiring the identification of a corresponding general standard of conduct to be applied subject to the principle of common but differentiated responsibility and respective capabilities. Under these circumstances, the Court recognizes that the standard of due diligence for preventing significant harm to the climate system is stringent. As concerns climate change, a heightened degree of vigilance and prevention is required. The Court concludes that the duty of states to prevent significant environmental harm applies in the context of climate change, and that this duty forms part of the most directly relevant applicable law.
Also not mentioned here is the fact that volcano eruptions are a conspiracy theory. Here's a volcano eruption, and they failed to mention this in the, I'm wondering whether the ruling by that court is against these volcanoes. Mount Marapi erupts here, and there's plenty of CO2 to go around. And so no mention by the court of, I guess, volcanoes have indemnity as well. I'm not quite sure, but we'll be asking the UN International Court of Justice where they stand on the volcanoes' CO2 emissions.
They're too busy sounding like a broken record right now. They'll get back to you on the next one. Seriously, what year is this? You could look back and find these exact same types of people saying the exact same thing, going as far as probably the 60s, I'm guessing. Anyway, but hey, we're still all here. Weird. Well, far less of us are here these days. Depends on what you were putting in your body. Anyway. Oh, by the way, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne, who just passed away.
China's reaction to the United States withdrawing from UNESCO. Let's take a look at this, what China had to say about that. China's spokesman said, "We noted that UNESCO and multiple countries expressed the regrets over the U.S.'s decision to withdraw from the organization again. It's the third time that the U.S. has withdrawn from UNESCO. The country hasn't paid arrears for a long time. This is not what a major country should do. The purpose of UNESCO is to advance international cooperation in education, science, and cultural promotion, promote the mutual understanding and integration of civilizations, uphold world peace, and achieve common development. China firmly supports UNESCO's work on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations. We call on all countries to reaffirm their commitment to multilateralism and to take concrete action to support the UN-centered international system, the international order underpinned by international law, and the basic norms governing international relations based on the purpose and principles of the United Nations Charter." Wah, wah, wah.
Hear, hear. More world governments, not less. We love it. New world order, here we come.
A new world order. In other news, what's happening in Russia? Well, Satanism, which is a mindset, by the way, but Satanism completely banned in Russia for the first time after Supreme Court outlaws and recognizes the international Satanist movement as extremist, part of the move to combat ideologies against traditional spiritual and moral values. And they posted this clip on the RT, and so we're going to play it here for you now.
Why not, Dad? Satan does suck.
I know, but
He's right, Hank. What does your shirt say? Satan rules?
So Russia-Ukraine had peace talks in Istanbul. They lasted a total of 34 minutes today. And so we're not seeing any progress, even though they continue to exchange prisoners of war and dead soldiers. Russian POWs continue to return from Ukrainian captivity as another prisoner exchange took place today between Russia and Ukraine. So we're see like some kind of goodwill thing going on there with these type of exchanges, but the peace talks, not so much. And the president of peace, Trump, as he campaigned on, another promise made and promise kept, Trump's State Department green lights $322 million in arms sales to Ukraine. That happened today. As campaigned, the president of peace is continuing to fuel the Russia-Ukraine war with American weapons. It's the Hawk Phase 3 missile system, amongst other weapons. They're sold to Ukraine in efforts for peace. Ruckus?
Maybe they're getting their own versions of the new Trump bots armed with jetpacks and rocket launchers. What do you think?
Trump famously campaigned that if he would have never been cheated out of the 2020 election, the war there would have never started. The unprovoked invasion by Russia would have never happened. And if you elect him this time around, we're 6 months into the Trump administration, he would have this war stopped and peace declared in 24 hours after being elected. We're now 6 months in. I guess
Didn't you know? I have it on good authority that ever since the good Lord above stepped in with his hand and saved Donald Trump from certain death in Butler, Pennsylvania, that he now operates on the same time schedule as God. And as we all know, to God, a day is as a year. So there you have it. We're still good.
Perfect explanation there, Ruckus. Continuing, when we're in real bad shape here, when Hunter Biden, known for underage sex abuse and crack abuse, is the voice of reason as far as the October 7th worst attack in the history of the world goes. And so here's a clip of Hunter Biden asking the hard questions. A world-renowned artist also, I had to mention there.
Question I have, and this get me in trouble, not to relate to anybody but Bibi Netanyahu. If the Mossad had the plans for the October 7th attack a year before it occurred, why were you not prepared? Why did you not have soldiers in the southern part of Israel where the attacks occurred for like up to 7 to 12 hours?
maybe the same reason they didn't capture Osama after the Kenya bombings.
Maybe, but I don't know the answer to that. But no one has been able to.
I know that dude's a drug addict, but what drug is he on right now during this interview?
He's chill, man. And so that's where we're at here in America when the voice of reason comes from Hunter Biden.
I'm not accepting that.
Here is the official, as I announced yesterday, 28 countries, and this is right from the overlords there in the UK, UK.gov. You can see occupied Palestinian territories joint statement came out, 2 days ago. The UK and 28 international partners have a joint statement on occupied Palestinian territories. And so here's all the countries that signed on to this deal. And the signatories list below come together with a simple, urgent message. The war in Gaza must end now. I argue there is no war. There's just a genocide going on. The suffering of the civilians in Gaza has reached new depths. The Aardvark government's aid delivery model is dangerous, fuels instability, and deprives Gazans of human dignity. We condemn the drip feeding of aid and the inhumane killing of civilians, including children, seeking to meet the most basic needs of water and food. It is horrifying that over 800 Palestinians have been killed while seeking aid. The Aardvark's government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance to the civilian population is unacceptable. Aardvark land must comply with its obligations under international humanitarian law. And it goes on and on and on to list their war crimes right from the big boss, their UK.gov or gov.uk. Pretty damning there, pretty damning.
That doesn't make any sense because the UK government has just basically recently made it against the law to support a prescribed terrorist group, which is now includes Palestine Action for Palestine or Palestine Action or something like that. One of the more popular groups, and they say in there that just any statement like what the UK government just agreed to there is engaging. It's against the law out there. But the government can break its own laws that it makes. Oh,
they're
man.
running the damn thing. Okay, so yeah.
In this case, I'm happy. This is a good thing. This is good that they're at least, saying something. But again, not going to make a lick of difference. People are not suddenly going to magically have food rain down over their heads, manna from heaven, in Palestine. Unfortunately, this is terrible. I keep seeing videos. There's a video right now going around of a guy trying to sift flour out of dirt. Man, it's rough.
It's horrific, the videos on the interwebs. And the starving Palestinians is too much for European eyes to bear, it appears. The 28 countries that signed on, we'll just read them out here. Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Cyprus, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Greece, Japan, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK are all anti-septic here now. So we need to sanction them immediately. You hear me, Marco Rubio? Sanction these bastards. All right. Former GHF, I forget even what it is, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GUARD speaks out on U.S.-backed Gazan food program horrors. Let's go to this clip. And it's kind of, the interview, they got it, well, you'll see. And I don't blame them. They could be droned at any time. It's in language, but it is translated here in English for us. And the image is blurred because I do believe this probably is risking your life if he really is a former guard at this aid operation.
You're a veteran of the United States Army who has been deployed to combat 12 times, 4 different wars. I never in my entire military career have I been a part of, allowed, or bystander to the use of force against unarmed innocent civilians, ever. And I'm not going to do it now. There is no fixing this. This needs to be put an end to it.
What happened that made you leave? What was your red line?
There was a man who was on the ground. He was on his hands and knees, and he was picking up individual noodles. The UG security personnel wanted to get the Palestinians off the site. So they start yelling, hey, let's go, let's leave. This guy wasn't armed. He wasn't a threat. So this UG contractor sprayed an entire can of pepper spray, an entire can into this guy's face. That's lethal. I was standing next to these two women, and this contractor throws this stun grenade, and it lands in between me and them. This thing hit her and she just drops, just lifeless, collapsed to the ground. It looked like she had been killed. And to me, that was I could not be a part of that anymore. The Israeli Defense Force engineers built the sites and decided where they would be. In reality, the sites put the population at a great disadvantage and put the population in danger.
You keep saying that the location of the distribution site are in areas which are far from the Palestinian population, and that creates one of the key problems. Can you explain why?
The sites were not set up in locations, nor were they set up in a way that was conducive to distributing or delivering humanitarian aid to a needy population. Thought of, oh yeah, the Palestinians can just come down here and get the aid. Well, 40-pound boxes, couldn't have vehicles, couldn't have cars, they're on foot, most of them don't have shoes, no water, going through active war zone areas as the Palestinians were finishing getting the aid that was on the site. The UG Solutions personnel began shooting in their direction, shooting at them, shooting at their feet, shooting into the berms to get them to leave.
While you were in Gaza, you have spoken to some of the IDF soldiers. What have they told you?
Every single day, thousands of Palestinians coming in and out of my secure area that I have no control over. I don't have any accountability of. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're going after they leave. That's a huge risk, and the Israeli forces in the area do not like it. And I don't blame them. The IDF soldiers that are on the ground in southern Gaza don't like it. It takes away from their mission. It takes away from their security. It's a risk for them. If the UN method had the amount of support and security and coordination that GHF is getting, the UN process would be very successful.
Brazil to join South Africa's Gaza genocide case against Aardvark land at the International Court of Justice. Reuters reports to us, so they will definitely need to be sanctioned. I believe that we already did sanction them due to BRICS activity there as well, and the whole Bolsonaro debacle going on in Brazil. So that we may need to bomb Brazil soon here, Ruckus. Pregnant Gazans tell BBC of fears of starvation and catastrophic birth outcomes. Meanwhile, 10 people have died of malnutrition in the last 24 hours, according to the BBC. They're in Gaza. There's the report. And then what else do we got? Oh, here we go. Where have we heard about controlled demolition before? Oh, I don't know. 9/11 and Aardvark involvement there potentially. But it turns out it's kind of their thing to do controlled demolition. Here's another report, shockingly enough, out of the BBC. Aardvark land leveling thousands of Gaza civilian buildings in controlled demolitions. It's almost like they have a thing for controlled demolitions here now.
Still doesn't look like what happened on 9/11, which is weird.
They're clearing out the whole area there. Wow, look at that.
Maybe they should use planes. It does a much better job and it disintegrates everything. There's very little cleanup involved. If 9/11 taught us anything, I mean, why doesn't everybody do this, Sam?
And then here is the Aardvark land claims its military has operation control over large areas of the Gaza Strip, which are now militarized zones and have been under evacuation orders. Footage of infrastructure being demolished in 40 locations. And they go through the locations here. Maternity hospital. They're demoing the whole freaking place.
Build back better.
Oh, wow. It's all there in painful detail. Again, for those that...
Seriously, how long is it going to take them to rebuild that? Why are they... None of this makes any sense. Unless they have a lot of stuff ready to go and, you know, fabricated homes and buildings and things. You watch. Maybe this might be like the quickest rebuild the world has ever seen.
Operation Rebuild Redevelopment Warp
They'll
Speed.
warp speed the rebuild, the warp speeding the Greater Israel Project. There we go. It's great.
Aardvark Land's Knesset votes in favor of applying Aardvark land sovereignty over the West Bank. 71-13 now voted today to go ahead and annex the occupied West Bank there in Aardvark Land. And so you could see it there on a map. Shocking, I know. Even what a surprise. One of the commenters said, it is very shocking indeed. And that's about all we have today. Ruckus, any other news and views you'd like to share before we sign off on this Wednesday edition of Weaponized News?
No, that's okay. I know you gotta try to cut this one short to let Thomas in. But what I am going to do is I'm going to send you a link to a video via direct message on X. And if you get a chance to grab that, it's really short, but if you wanted to play this at some point before you close the show, I highly recommend it. It will be a winner with the audience, that's for sure. And then as far as all the rest of the news and events that are happening right now, I will be making an appearance tomorrow on my birthday, of all things. I'm not taking the day off, people. I'll be on Boiler Room with my colleagues, of course, over there, and we are going to go through all of the things in greater detail. So I encourage folks to tune in and check that out, and check me out on Sunday with Patrick Henningsen for the Sunday Wire. I just plugged your show again. I'm so guilty of doing that. Every time I'm there, I let people know that they want to check out Weaponized News. So I hope you're getting some new views. That's great. And all that stuff. So yeah, I don't have any other heavy news to bring your way tonight, though. It's heavy enough. That was a lot. Wow.
Thank you, Ruckus, and happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tune into Ruckus tomorrow, and then directly, well, not directly, 7:30, so in like an hour, tune in to more Weaponized News. Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy is going to be debuting the Molecule Police show, where he's going to break down some molecules and do that deep dive into the chemistry behind all of this stuff going on here, the toxic environment and soup that we find ourselves in. Shout out to, well, let's go to the channels quickly before we sign off and check out on the Odysee. Who do we have there? We have Huffman, we have John, and Highland. Shout out to you guys. What did they say here? Oh, they mentioned that's not mentioned. Well, it is mentioned, but yeah, there is still this Yellowstone super volcano that could erupt, and maybe we can get some carbon tax slapped on that.
That's a planet killer. That's the one we don't want to see erupted. It's the super volcanoes. Wow.
They say F the UN. That seems to be a general consensus. So, yeah. Hashtag winning. I'm getting ill from so much winning here now. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. Appreciate it. Chatting it up over there. The Bitchute. Is there anybody on the Bitchute? Yeah, a few people. Thank you for tuning in on the Bitchute. The Facebook, a few people. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook. The YouTube, thank you for tuning in on YouTube. And then, of course, the Rumble chat, the most lively. Thank you to Denver, Karen, Chloe, the regulars over there. We had Ophelia, and I think I saw old Fat Bob in there as well. Hemp Car, shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for keeping that chat lively. And we do look forward to our dystopic technocratic future here now with the taking off all the guardrails and protections of AI. And so we have that to look forward to, and a nuclear reactor in your neighborhood. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for more weaponized news. And don't forget to tune in to Ruckus on the Boiler Room tomorrow. Plug it again. What time, Ruckus?
That will be 9 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, well, usually. We might be late. We're usually late 30 to 40 minutes. But, yeah, we try to be 8 p.m. Central is the official time. You do the math.
All right. Thank you. And be sure to tune in to the Molecule Police in about an hour from now. We'll see you back here